Every single day for years, he walked the same roads, bent over, quiet, picking up broken stones that everyone else stepped over without a second thought. The town watched, the town whispered, and the town laughed, but not one person ever stopped to ask why. That was their mistake. His name was Walter, Walter Hayes, and he lived alone in a small tired house on the edge of Milford, a quiet little town in rural Tennessee. His clothes were worn thin. His boots had seen better decades. He didn't own much, didn't say much either. Most mornings, his neighbors would see him shuffling down the road with an old canvas bag over his shoulder, eyes scanning the ground like he was searching for something nobody else could see. Cracked pieces of pavement, shattered bricks from demolished buildings, chunks of limestone from roadsides, broken concrete from abandoned lots. He collected all of it, every piece, every fragment, like each one mattered, and people noticed. "There he goes again," the kids would say, laughing from their front porches. "Crazy old Walter and his rocks." Adults weren't much kinder. At the hardware store, at the diner, people talked. Some said he'd lost his mind years ago. Some said he was harmless, but hopeless. A few felt sorry for him. Most just shook their heads and moved on with their day. Nobody asked, nobody checked, nobody thought twice. But Walter kept going. Rain or shine, cold mornings and hot afternoons, day after day, year after year, his collection grew. Neighbors who drove past his property said you could see stones stacked along the side of his house, filling the backyard, organized in ways that didn't quite make sense from the road. Some thought it was hoarding. Others thought it was obsession. But something about the way Walter handled each stone was strange. He didn't just throw them in a pile, he cleaned them, sorted them, set them aside with a kind of care that most people reserve for something precious. What did he see in those broken pieces that no one else could see? That question would linger for years, until the day Walter disappeared. It started with small notices. He hadn't picked up his mail. His lights hadn't been on. His usual morning walk hadn't happened. After 2 weeks of silence, the town started to talk. After a month, a woman named Carol, who lived 3 houses down, decided she'd had enough wondering. She walked up to Walter's property, knocked on the door. Nothing. She tried the side gate. It was unlocked. What she found behind that house stopped her completely. A path, lined with stones, leading into the woods behind his property. She followed it, almost without thinking. The path wound through the trees for nearly a quarter mile, and then it opened up. Carol stood at the edge of a clearing and couldn't speak. In front of her was a garden, but not just any garden. An entire outdoor sanctuary, built entirely from the broken stones Walter had spent years collecting. Walls made from layered fragments fit together like a mosaic puzzle. A small arch. Raised flower beds framed in cracked brick. A winding stone path that curved through the middle of it all, surrounded by wild grass and early spring flowers. In the center stood a bench, made from flat stones, smooth and steady, and on the wall behind it, arranged in pieces of different colored stone, was a shape. Simple, clear, a flower, a single blooming flower, built from what everyone else had thrown away. Carol sat down on that bench and cried. She didn't fully understand why yet, but she felt it. Later, when neighbors came together to find Walter, they discovered he had quietly moved into a care facility 2 towns over. His health had been failing for over a year. He had said nothing. When someone finally sat with him and asked about the garden, Walter was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled. He told them about his wife, Margaret, 42 years of marriage. A woman who believed that broken things still had beauty left in them. She used to say that the cracks in something were just proof that it had lived. Before she passed, 11 years ago, she had one small wish. She wanted a garden, a real garden. A place where people could sit and feel peaceful. She never got to see it. Walter had spent 11 years building it for her. He never told anyone because he wasn't building it for praise. He wasn't building it for attention. He was building it because he made her a promise. And he intended to keep it. When the town of Milford heard the full story, something shifted. The people who had laughed felt the weight of their words differently now. The ones who had called him crazy sat quietly with that. Because Walter hadn't been lost. He hadn't been confused. He had been carrying something sacred every single day in worn-out boots, without asking for a single thing in return. He had seen beauty in what everyone else discarded, and he had turned it into something that would outlast all of them. There's something